What if the lands of Shem, Ham, and Japeth, Noah's 3 sons, are actually all in North America? Part 2. Okay, so the last video we went over Shem's land, but then I ran out of time, so we had to break this into 2 parts. So we're going to cover Ham and Japeth's land in this video. So if you haven't seen part 1, go watch that first, and this one will make a little more sense. Okay, so picking up right where we left off, this is in the book of Jubilee, chapter 8. So we're going to talk about Ham's land. So it says, "For Ham came forth the second portion beyond the Gihon towards the south, to the right of the garden, and extends towards the south, and extends to all the mountains of fire, and extends towards the west to the sea of Atel, and extends towards the west until it reaches the sea of Mauk, that sea into which everything which is not destroyed descends. And it goes forth towards the north to the limits of Gadir, and it goes forth to the coast of the waters of the sea, to the waters of the great sea, till it draws near to the river Gihon, and goes along the river Gihon till it reaches the right of the Garden of Eden." And this is what came forth for Ham. So I don't know where a lot of those locations are, but we do know where the Gihon is. So let me show you that again. I showed you that in Shem's section. So the Gihon is the Platte River, right? There's a North Platte up here in the South Platte that runs along into the Missouri and then connects with the Mississippi. So we've already established in other videos that we know that a lot of the reason I know more about the land of Ham is because of the division of the amongst his 3 sons, or his sons, 3 sons, 4 sons. Anyway, we know this is the land of Cush right in here. Okay, so this is Cush, which is south of the Gihon, or south of the Platte River. And then we know that Mitzrayim is south of the Colorado River. And then next to that was a land of Put, and then Canaan. So we know where Canaan is, and that was kind of land they took over and they weren't supposed to, right? And that was, Canaan is all this region in here, which is the western side of, the western side of Utah. And Mitzrayim is down in here, and I believe Put was over here, maybe up into California somewhere. Not 100% sure about this area. So all of this basically was kind of Egypt, especially Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim was Egypt. So Arizona, parts of Nevada, all this down here was the land of Ham, because this is where he gave his 3 sons his land. I don't know how far south it extended yet. It sounds like it extended to the mountains of fire. Not sure where that is, but we do know it was down here. So, and then it would probably be similar in size to Japeth's land, which was the central region, which we went over already. So my guess is, I know there's so many markings on this map, it's hard to see. My guess is it was probably all of Arizona, Nevada, maybe part of California, maybe down into Mexico. I'm also not 100% sure how far east it extended, and that goes with most of these. However, the Euphrates, which is the Mississippi, is a pretty definitive marker that most of the biblical locations seem to cut off at. So my assumption would be it went to the Euphrates, but perhaps it extended across the eastern side of the continent. We'll find out more as we get more research put together, but that's where I'm at with it now. Okay, let's look at Japeth. Okay, so for Japeth came forth the 3rd portion beyond the river Tina to the north of the outflow of its waters, and extends northeasterly to the whole region of Gog and to all the country east thereof. So like I said before, I'm not sure where the river Tina is. If anyone has any idea, let me know. It sounds like it's up in Canada, I'll be honest. I believe it's in Canada somewhere. So this is saying that Gog is the northeastern region of Canada, if I'm reading this correctly, just for those of you who are curious. And it extends northerly to the north, and extends to the mountains of Kelt. Don't know where that is yet. Towards the north, towards the Sea of Mauk. I don't know where that is yet either. And it goes forth to the east, of Gadir, As far as the region of the waters of the sea, I don't know where that is either. It extends until it approaches the water west of Farah towards Aphirog, and it extends again to the waters to the sea, east to the waters of the Sea of Miat. I'm not sure where all those precise locations are. However, if we keep reading, it extends to the region of the river Tina, and it talks about the mountain of Rapha. So those were landmarks given earlier. Turns around towards the north. And then if we read further on, hang on, let me pull this up. It says, "This is the land which came forth for Japeth and his sons as the portion of his inheritance, which he should possess for himself and his sons, for their generations forever, 5 great islands and a great land in the north. But it is cold, and the land of Ham is hot, and the land of Shem is neither hot nor cold, but is blended cold and heat," which we talked about earlier in the first video. So, unfortunately, I have not yet pinpointed most of the locations mentioned in Shem's territory. In Japheth's territory. However, with what we know about the location of Shem's territory, which we covered in part 1, it is clear that it would be north of where the ark landed, which is the mountains of Ararat, which is here in Banff National Park area, because the mountains of Ararat and Babel, and this was all in Shem's territory. So it would have to be north of this, right? Oh, also, I did find this the other day. I said I didn't know where Susan was. There is a Susan Peak here. I don't know. I just noticed that. I don't know if that's what they're referencing or not. It could be, because that would be the right area. But just eyeballing it, and what we know, going off of what we know about Ham and Shem's land, Japheth's land would be up here in Canada. It talked about 5 great islands and a great northern land. So I don't know if they're referencing this area as the 5 great islands. Are there 5 there? I'm not even sure. But it does seem like his land is just up here. Japheth's land is all up in here. And perhaps the region of Gog is eastward in Canada, or even just eastward in U.S., northern U.S. That's the impression I'm getting from reading it. But anyway, as you can see, this is still a work in progress. This is a rough draft, but I do feel like we have enough information based off of what we know already to be able to tell where the general region of Shem, Ham, and Japheth's land is, and that it is clear that it is all within the North American continent. It's just pinpointing the exact boundaries from here on out, which as we continue to collect more and more locations and pinpointing these locations, I have no doubt that this is going to become much more clear and much more precise than it is already. But I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any insight to add to this, I would love to hear it. I am just constantly mind-boggled by the amount of information that is found in Scripture when we take the time to slow down and read and study it out for ourselves. And if we are willing to set aside preconceived notions and understanding, that has been really key for me, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Put some blinders on. There's so much information flying around on the internet. This topic does seem to be picking up some steam gratefully, and people are getting the continent right, which is amazing, wonderful to see. But we have to slow down and really see for ourselves and study out what the Scripture says, and figure these locations out. Don't just go off of a random TikTok video. What I say is you watch my random TikTok video. Don't take my word for it. Get into the Scriptures, get into the other books and information that is out there, and figure it out. See what you see. Come to your own conclusions.